Greetings, Earthlings! Today I'm back with a review of a brand new camera top and USB shotgun microphone. What's this, you ask? Oh, I wouldn't worry about that if I were you. So today we're reviewing this guy, the Rode VideoMic NTG, which is a 3.5mm camera top shotgun microphone, or a USB-C shotgun microphone. If you are interested in this mic, it will set you back around $250. Like always, I'll throw some links down below. And in the sake of full disclosure, I do want to let you know that Rode did send me this microphone free of charge for the sake of doing this review. For the majority of this video, I will have the microphone connected directly to my Mac using the USB-C to USB-A cable. My gain is set at around 18% on the computer. I will not do any kind of post-processing, but I may boost the audio in post, so check the doobly-doo to see what I diddly did. And now let's talk about what comes in the box. What are you going to do? Of course, you are going to get the microphone. You'll get the Rycote shock mount, which is previously installed right out of the box, a foam windscreen, a 3.5mm TRRS to 3.5mm TRRS cable to connect it to your camera, a USB-C to USB-A cable to charge the microphone's battery or connect it to your computer to use it as a USB mic, and a quick start guide to get started quickly. Then as far as the build quality, the microphone feels extremely well put together. It has an all-metal body, which I believe is aircraft-grade aluminum, and it weighs in at around 94 grams, so it is on the lighter side. And there is a whole bunch of technology crammed into this thing, so let's go ahead and walk through all of the features. On the top of the microphone, the first set of lights is going to be your EQ section. When the first two lights are turned off, that means you don't have any high-pass filter engaged, but you can turn on a 75 Hz or 150 Hz high-pass filter. But you also have the option to turn on a high shelf EQ to boost the upper frequencies, and you do this by holding the button for around 2 seconds. Beneath this, you have your level section, and you have the option for a negative 20 decibel pad, as well as a safety track, which will record the right-hand side of the audio at negative 20 decibels to help you avoid clipping. And the last light here is a clipping light to let you know if your audio is too loud. At the back of the microphone, you'll find the gain dial, and the amazing thing here is it has numbers, which makes it insanely easy to recall your level setting if you have to go back and re-record something or add some additional information to your video. On the left-hand side of the microphone, you'll find a 3.5mm output. This can be used to connect the microphone to your camera's microphone input, or while you're using this as the USB microphone, you can use this as a headphone output to get zero latency monitoring, as well as computer playback. And on the right-hand side of the microphone, you will find the USB-C port, which allows you to charge the microphone's battery or connect it to your computer to use it as a USB microphone. And lastly, when it comes to the shock mount, it has a standard cold shoe mounting size, but on the bottom of that, you will find 3/4 inch threading, so you can mount this to a standard boom arm in your studio. Next up, as far as the specs of this thing, it has a super cardioid polar pattern, a frequency response of 35 Hz to 18 kHz, a sensitivity of around negative 26 dB, an impedance of 10 ohms, a max SPL of 120 dB, an EIN of 15 dBA, a dynamic range of 105 dBA, a battery life of 30 plus hours, a bit depth of 24 bit, and a sample rate of 48 kHz. And a quick side note about the headphone amp in this thing, it was perfectly capable of driving the Sennheiser HD650s. I just had to have the gain dial on the rear of the microphone set to around 11 out of 15 to get a decent level out of them. Now I'm going to demonstrate what kind of tonal effect the foam windscreen has on the microphone sound. So right now I'm about 8 inches off of the microphone. It is in flat mode without the foam windscreen, and here is how the audio sounds. And now the microphone is in the exact same position with the exact same gain setting. I have just added the foam windscreen on top of it, and here is how the audio compares. Now, as a quick demonstration of how this microphone would work for voiceover, I have the 20 decibel pad engaged. I have it a few inches off of my mouth, and I am recording directly to my computer, and here is how the audio sounds. And just to be as complete as possible, here is how the microphone sounds in the same position without the foam windscreen attached. Okay, right now I'm a few inches off of the microphone to really engage the proximity effect. I do have the high shelf engaged to bring a little bit of clarity and life to it, but I do not have a high pass filter engaged, and this is how the audio sounds. Now I have engaged the 75 Hz high pass filter, and this is how it affects the lower frequencies. And now I have switched on the 150 Hz high pass filter to show you how this rolls off a lot of the lower frequencies, and it does start to affect the tone quite a bit. Now I've engaged the high shelf EQ on the microphone, and here is how it sounds without the foam windscreen on. And now I have the high shelf on and the foam windscreen on the microphone as well, and here is how the audio sounds. Now for a quick comparison's sake, you are listening to the Canon 90D's internal microphones. The camera is maybe 3.5 or 4 feet away from me, and here is how the audio sounds. Now you're hearing the Rode VideoMic NTG connected directly to the microphone input of the Canon 90D. It is about 3 or 4 feet away from me, and here is how the audio compares. Now I'm spinning around the VideoMic NTG to show you what it sounds like from the side of the microphone. I will continue around to 180 degrees, show you what the lobe of sensitivity in the rear sounds like, continue around the microphone to the second 90-degree angle, move up and down the side, and then I will rotate and end at the front of the microphone. Alright, now I'm about 6 inches off of the microphone, and here is how the audio sounds. About 1 foot away from the microphone, 2 feet away from the microphone, and about 4 feet away from the microphone. Now I am typing on a keyboard with Cherry MX Blues to see how much of my voice versus how much of the keyboard it picks up. Now for all the sad boy gamers out there, I am typing on the sad W keys. Here is how the Canon 90D's internal microphones sound in a well-treated room. Here's how the Rode VideoMic NTG sounds in a well-treated room. Now I'm in a completely untreated room, and here is the camera's internal microphone's audio. And now I have the Rode VideoMic NTG on top of the camera in a completely untreated room, and here is how the audio sounds. Now I want to do a very quick comparison between the VideoMic NTG, which is what you're hearing right now, and the VideoMic Pro R Plus, or whatever the model number is. So right now, this is what the NTG sounds like about 3.5 feet away from me, plugged directly into the camera. And now I have switched from the VideoMic NTG to the Pro R Plus. Same distance, same gain setting, and here is how the audio compares. Which one do you like better? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, if we take a quick look at latency, this microphone only has a sample rate of 48 kilohertz, and with an I/O buffer size of 64 samples, we have 9 milliseconds round trip, or 4.5 milliseconds output. When we jump up to 128 samples, we have 11.5 milliseconds round trip, or 5.7 milliseconds output. And when we jump up to 256 samples, 17 milliseconds round trip, or 8.5 milliseconds output. And just for the sake of being as thorough as possible, here is what I see when I connect the VideoMic NTG to my computer over USB. You can see in my input settings, I have the VideoMic NTG, and in the output settings, I can output computer playback through the NTG to that 3.5 millimeter output. Alright, so at the risk of sounding a little bit hyperbolic, I honestly think that this microphone is the new gold standard for camera top shotgun mics. And first up, in terms of pros, I did not mention this in the specs section, but this microphone has an auto on-off feature where it will turn on when your camera turns on, and it will turn off when your camera turns off. So you don't have to fiddle around with a power switch and worry if your battery is dying because you forgot to turn the mic off. Secondly, for a shotgun microphone, it has a very respectable self-noise of 15 dBA. I also absolutely love the fact that they have numbers on the gain dial, making it very easy for you to recall what level you recorded at an earlier date. Also, they added USB functionality to this thing, so you can use it as a USB sound card. You can record audio directly from this to your computer, you can get zero latency monitoring, and you can get computer playback, which is absolutely insane and an invaluable thing to have on this mic. And lastly, the build quality feels really dang good. And then in terms of cons, I would have liked to have seen a slightly higher SPL, because while I was recording, it sounded like I was clipping, even though I was nowhere near clipping in my meters, which leads me to believe that I was actually overdriving the microphone's capsule, which is an issue that I also ran into with the NT USB. So because of that, I would have liked to have seen a higher SPL to avoid potentially overdriving the capsule when you're close talking it for voiceover. And secondly, I am really nitpicking here, but I would have liked to have seen a way to shut off zero latency monitoring. I am assuming that is something they could add with a firmware update down the road, no pun intended. Maybe you could hold down both of the buttons for 5 seconds to shut off zero latency monitoring or turn it on. I don't know if that'd be too confusing, but that's just something I would have liked to have seen on this mic. And now, would I recommend this microphone? Both yes and no. If you're someone who is looking for a shotgun microphone for your home studio and you don't plan on that microphone ever leaving your studio, and maybe you want to do some voiceover with it, I think that there are better XLR options out there, so I wouldn't recommend this microphone for you if that's your use case. But on the other hand, if you are looking for a camera top shotgun microphone that you also want to use in your studio for booming, or maybe you want to do some voiceovers with a USB connection, then 100% I recommend this thing. It is an absolute game changer in that department. And the reason that I say that is they took a microphone form factor that in my opinion was somewhat of a one-trick pony, and they made it a much more useful tool for content creators just by adding USB functionality. Alright, that is going to wrap up for today, so if you found this video fun, interesting, or helpful, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you hated it, give me a big ol' thumbs down. If you want to subscribe, go ahead and click that logo beneath me. And if you want to support the channel and become one of these amazing people over here, you can do so by clicking that join button and joining at the $5 tier. It really does help me continue to bring you these videos. I really do appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you next time. Bye.